I think what interests me most about approaches to teaching and learning is the fact that this prepares students not just for exams, but also for what comes after exams. So, for example, if we're looking at communication skills or research skills, it's not just examination ready, it's also how will that work in life afterwards, so interviews, university. Here at Tanglin, one of the things that we do is use these skills all the way down to year 7, to year 8, not just for the IB, which means that by the time they get there, their confidence is much, much higher. So it's all about lifelong learning, not just about exams. Today, we're focusing on communication skills. This is an English A IB literature class. They are in year 12. We've been studying A Streetcar Named Desire for the last few weeks, and we're just moving on to Who's Afraid of Virginia Woolf by Edward Albee. Okay guys, good afternoon. Today we are going to start with you using the areas that you've selected to tell me something about Martha and George and their relationship. So you're either drawing, you're painting, you're creating models, or you are doing as a beautiful piece of mime. So today we're focusing on the skill of communication. Students are going to be looking at non-verbal communication, working on interpretation skills and looking at how they view other students' work, not necessarily looking for the right answers. They're also going to be having a discussion on characters' relationships within the plays. So that's a paper 2 skill, preparing them for the exam. Now, the communication isn't only about communication skills in general life, it's also preparing them for the individual oral commentary, which is coming later on in year 13. So can we start with the group in the middle? Do you want to just get up and come and have a look? These guys are not going to be saying anything, it's about what we interpret. So they've communicated something with us, and let's see what we take away from it. So anyone want to start us off? What can we see about George and Martha's relationship?
It looks very ritualistic in a way, which makes sense because of the second scene, which is called Walpurgisnacht, which is also a very sort of ritualistic occurrence where people go around a bonfire.
Yeah. The students responded positively to the lesson. They're quite a keen class. They like to do things that are a little bit different. So when we did the first task, the non-verbal communication task, they very much enjoyed getting their hands dirty with the paint, but also doing the drama activities. So what I want you to do now is we're going to have group 1 over here and group 2 over here, and you're going to have 5 minutes preparation time in order to get ready for your debate. Everybody okay? All right, let's go.
Pure lust, pure affection.
What tend to happen is that the situation occurred once, lunch is one introduction.
Communication skills are so important for this particular course because they have their individual oral commentary at the end of year 13. Not only that, but it's also preparing them for across the diploma. I spoke to some year 13 students about this and how they felt that communication skills were important to them. And it was quite interesting that they seemed to talk about all of the other subjects that they have. For them, it was the discussion element that allowed them to develop their ideas that really, really helped them.
Well, today's lesson, it would not have worked if we did not communicate with one another. In fact, especially during the debates, it was all about communicating with your team, because without that, we wouldn't be able to convey any concise or legitimate point across. What I learned today was basically the perspective of the audience.
I see communication happening in almost every subject. I've learned through IB that you can communicate with so much more than just words.
One of the things that we were working on was their aims from doing a debate like this previously, and students actually were able to take those things into account and improve. They were able to think about whether they spoke too much, whether they were too loud, to think about their pace. One thing I'd like to do in the future is look at the skills that we have in English and what we can do to help other departments and see how we can develop students' use of communication skills across the diploma and not just in our subject.